Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about market structure and market pattern, a topic that a lot of you traders need to know before you guys get into trading Forex, stocks, or even cryptos, right? So let's get into this video. Alright, so this over here is a quick example of market structure. Now, the reason why market structure is very important for you guys to understand, and it's also a very easy topic for you guys to understand, is because you guys are going to be seeing this in a daily basis. Whenever you guys log into TradingView or even MetaTrader, you guys are going to see market structure every single day. So, market structure is basically the flow of the market. Where is the market trending? So, the market moves in three different ways. We have an uptrend, a downtrend, and a range. An uptrend is when the market is heading to the upside, creating higher highs and higher lows. A downtrend is when the market is heading to a downside, creating lower lows and lower high, and a range is when the market is in the middle, creating highs and lows. So let's get ready and identify higher highs and higher lows. Alright, so let's start off first with an uptrend. Whenever the market is heading to the upside, right, we're not creating two things. We're not creating the new higher high and higher low, and we're also not creating new supports. So whenever the market is heading to the upside, or whenever where the market is in an uptrend, you guys want to be looking for buy opportunities, right? So I'm going to show you guys first a higher high and higher low, and then I'm going to show you guys where the market creates new support. Alright, so this point over here, or this low, is now the beginning of the uptrend. So this is where the market begins the uptrend, right? We now have a low, we create a new high. Over here, it creates a new higher low. The reason why this is going to be a higher low is because this low is higher than the previous low, right? So it now becomes a higher low. Same thing over here, the market breaks above, right? Breaking above this resistance, where it now creates a new higher high. Now, the reason why this is going to be a higher high is because this high is higher than the previous high. Same thing over here. We're now creating a new higher low. The reason why this low is high is because, again, this low is higher than the previous low. So basically, the market is just going to repeat itself every single time, right? That's how trading is. The market just repeats itself. History repeats itself when it comes to trading, right? So same thing over here. We're now creating a new higher high because same thing. This high is higher than the previous high. Over here, we have a new higher low is because this low is higher than the previous low. Now, where does the market create the new support? So basically, as you guys can see over here, we're now breaking above this level of resistance, right? So when the market breaks above this level of resistance, we obviously need to wait for the pullback that confirms bullish, right? So for in this case, the market break above resistance, creating a new higher high, and now it creates a new higher low, retesting the previous high, also the previous resistance that is now being used as support. And basically, you guys want to wait for rejection or any bullish confirmation that creates a new higher low so you guys can continue back to the upside. So again, everything just repeats itself, and that's how you guys can catch a very easy move whenever the market is heading to the upside. Now the market is now coming back, now it's heading to a downside, right? So what is these two over here? So basically this two is very important for you guys to understand because a lot of people, they get confused over here. So this over here this stays over here as a higher high. The reason why this stays as a higher high is obviously because this high is higher than the previous high. Same thing over here. This stays as a higher low because this low is higher than the previous low. Now, is this a higher high or a lower high or a high? This over here is going to become a high. The reason why this becomes a high is because it's not even higher than the previous high or even lower than the previous highs. It basically stays the same. Now we're now heading back to a downside. What is this? A low, a higher low, or lower high? This over here becomes a lower low. The reason why this becomes a lower low is because this low is lower than the previous low. Same thing over here. The market is now heading to the upside, creating a new lower high. The reason why this is a lower high is because, again, this high is lower than the previous high. So again, it just repeats itself every single time. So now that the market is heading to a downside, we're now creating two things. We're now creating a lower low and a lower high, and we're also creating new resistance. So basically, this is where you guys want to be looking for sell opportunities. Now, where does the market create new resistance? So whenever the market is heading to the upside, we're breaking above resistance, right? Now it's the opposite whenever the market is heading to a downside. We're breaking under support, creating new resistance, right? So basically over here, we have support that breaks under and forms a resistance, whereas also the new lower high retesting the previous low. Same thing over here, it just basically repeats itself. We have a new lower high, price breaks under support, creates a new lower high, and you guys are going to be looking for sells. Now, a range is basically where the market just creates a high and a low. The market is not even breaking to the upside or downside, so basically when the market is in a range, you guys just basically want to wait for a breakout. So very simple. Let me just put this for you guys over here. We have a resistance level and we have a support level. So basically the market is just creating highs, low, high, low, high, low, and a higher high. Now that the market breaks above, we form a new higher high. Again, the reason why this becomes a higher high is because it's higher than the previous high. So you guys can see basically the flow. It just basically is going to repeat itself every single time. Over here is now going to become a higher low, retesting this level of resistance or the previous high being used as support so the market can then continue back to the upside. So that's basically how market structure works. You guys are gonna be seeing this every single time. So this is why it's very important for you guys to get ready and basically alert yourself when the market is heading to the upside, downside, or even a range. So let's get started with market patterns. Alright, so we have market patterns over here. Now these four patterns are my favorite to trade with, very easy and very simple to understand, right? Now obviously the market does create different patterns, but we want to focus today with these four. So we have the sell opportunities and we also have a buy opportunities, right? So for the sell opportunities, you guys are always going to see these patterns on top of the market, right? So basically we're coming out from an uptrend to now heading to a downside. Same thing over here with the buy. The buy, we're always going to find this on the bottom of the market that we're coming out from a downtrend to now creating a new trend that is obviously the uptrend, right? So this pattern over here is called a double top. So basically we're still coming out from an uptrend. So we're still creating higher highs and higher low with the double top, right? So we have this higher high over here and we have this higher low over here. Now, is this going to be a higher high, or lower high? Like I did mention earlier, this over here it stays as a high. Why? Again, because this high is not higher or not even lower than the previous high. So now that the market has created this M-shaped pattern, right? Basically, the way that we're going to trade this trade, basically the way that we're going to take a trade off this pattern is obviously waiting for the next pullback. As you guys can see, the market has broke under this higher low that is now creating a new lower low. Again, why is this going to be a lower low? Is because this low is lower than the previous low. So basically, we're now breaking under this level of support. Now we're just waiting for price to pull back into the level of support to then be used as resistance and create a new lower high so then we can enter a sell. So very simple. We now form a new lower high, retest this level of resistance, retest this level of support, use it as resistance so then we can enter a sell, right? Very simple. This over here is called a head and shoulder. We have the left shoulder, we have the head, and we also have the right shoulder. So basically it's very simple, same thing to trade. We're coming out from an uptrend. So over here we have a higher low. Alright, so I just set this up for you guys. So basically this is called a head and shoulder. We have the left shoulder, we have the head, and we also have the right shoulder. So basically how we're going to take a trade with this pattern. So obviously we're still coming up from an uptrend. So we're having a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a new higher high, and then what is this? Is this going to be a lower low, a low, or a higher low? This over here is going to become a low. The reason why this becomes a low is because this low is not even lower than the previous low or higher than the previous low, so it just stays as a low. Over here, we obviously form a new lower high because this high is lower than the previous high. So now you guys can basically see the switch of structure that we're now creating new lower lows and lower high. So this level over here is a level of support that, as you guys can see, market did break under this level. So basically the way that we enter this trade is wait for the next pullback, retest support, use it as resistance, create a new lower high, and then we can enter a sell. So very simple, right? Obviously the market is just going to continue its trend to the downside. So now let's talk the uptrend. Alright, so now looking at the buy patterns, right? So this buy patterns is where you guys want to be looking for buy opportunities. If you guys notice, these two patterns are basically the same exact pattern as this one, but just the opposite. Over here, you're obviously going to find it on top of the market, and over here, you guys are going to find on the bottom of the market, basically trades the same exact way, but just opposite bias, right? So this over here is called a double bottom. We're obviously coming out from a downtrend to now create the new trend, right? So we obviously have a lower high, a lower low, and a lower high. Is this going to become a new higher low, a lower low, or a low? This stays as a low. The reason why it stays as a low is because this low is not lower or higher than the previous low. So it stays just as a low. Now the market is now breaking above this lower high, also breaking above this resistance, creating a new high. The reason why this does not become a higher high is because this high is not higher than the previous lower high. So it just stays as a high. So basically over here, we're now identifying that the market is trying now to break to the upside. Now, the only way that we can confirm this that it's going bullish is obviously if we do respect this lower high and also use it as a new higher low. So now we're basically waiting for the next pullback. So the pullback that we're waiting is the retest of this resistance, right? Use it as support also create a new higher low to then continue back to the upside, right? So as you guys can see, this is the same exact pattern as this one, but just different, right? We're now looking for buys over here. So now that we have created a new higher low, we're now confirmed bullish, and now basically we just go along the trend. Basically just wait for the next pullback, retest this high, also resistance, use it as support, and also create a new higher low to then continue back to the upside, right? So this over here is called a double bottom. Over here we have an inverted head and shoulder, the same exact pattern as this one, but just inverted, right? We're basically trading in the bottom. So we have a lower high over here, right? We have a lower high, we have a lower low. Let me just copy and paste this. Alright, I'm back. So I just marked this up for you guys so you guys can skip through this part. But this pattern over here is an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Now this pattern trades the same way as the head and shoulder pattern. The only difference is that we're looking for buy opportunities, right? We have the left shoulder, we have the head, and we also have the right shoulder. So we're still coming down from a downtrend. So we have a lower high point, a lower low point, and now we form a new point over here. Is this going to be a lower high point, a higher high point, or just a high? This point over here stays as a high. The reason why it stays as a high is the same reason as the other ones, right? It's not higher or lower than the previous high. Now we're coming down over here, creating a new lower low. Over here is now forming a new high because again, it's the same exact reason. It's not higher or lower than the previous high. So over here is where the market kind of changes. If you guys notice over here, the market is heading to a downside, and over here, the market is heading back to the upside. So is this point over here going to be a lower low point, a higher low point, or just a low? This point over here forms a higher low point. The reason why it forms a higher low point is because this low is higher than the previous low. So now you guys can kind of see the market is now heading back to the upside, right? So now that the market has created this higher low point, we have broken above this level of resistance, also broken above this other high. So this point over here forms a new higher high point. So now that we have broken above resistance, now basically the way that we enter this trade is just wait for the next pullback. So now that we formed the new higher high point, we're just waiting for the new higher low point. Retest resistance, also be used as support to then continue back to the upside, right? So once the market does all that good stuff, we just wait for rejection. Once the market has those rejection is when we want to enter the trade. And obviously it creates a new higher low point over here, also the new higher high point. So that's basically how you guys are going to trade these market patterns and also how you guys are going to identify market structure. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any question, obviously comment down below. If you guys like this video, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.